Hey, good morning, everybody. It is December 6th, 8:25 a.m. Good morning to everybody. This market is kind of doing what I thought it might do because of this news looming. You're going to hear me talk about that again, about the FOMC on December 13th, December 14th, and CPI on the 13th, right? That's going to set the tone for the rest of the year. Um, and we hit very key areas, okay, in the SPY. And I said yesterday that I didn't expect much. It did more than I expected, but we did make moves down that was on a poor foundation from the Powell speech. So we're starting to take away some of that poor structure, and I'll get into that. So let's look at the watch list. All right, let's see. We got Bitcoin's up 0.86. Yeah, let's see here. Nasdaq's up 0.17. The Russell is up 0.07. Um, What else we got? We got the Dow is basically flat, down 0.04. The dollar is down 0.26. VIX is down 0.77. Crude is down 1.3%. That got hammered yesterday. Um, the 10-year yield, interesting, down 1.36. Okay. Um, let's get into some leaders and laggards. BABA. China is still talking about softening their COVID policies, so BABA is getting some love here, up 1.47%. That's really only one to note. Meta, down 0.29% is not much. Other than that, we have JP Morgan up 0.88, which is not too much, but Goldman Sachs is down 1.22%. Let me see, is there news on that? Oh, let's see. See, Goldman Sachs plans on investing in FTX. Plans investing in FTX hit firms to get master slap an antitrust lawsuit. Okay. Let's see the sectors. So it's going to be no surprises here. Not much of a leader, but XLK 0.17 and energy's the loser. Yeah, down 0.6. That makes sense. All right. Let's go to the daily now. Okay. What we had going on yesterday was ISM number came out better than expected. Dollar rose. Markets didn't like that, and that's what we have. So here's a SPY chart. All right. So there's a lot of things going on here that I'm gonna point out. All right. Here's SPY daily, and on the SPY daily, give me 1 second here, guys. Sorry about that. Give me 1 second. Alrighty. So let's see here. I'm sorry, got me just go off track. Here we go. So in the SPY, we have two dominant trend lines here that have been respected. I've been talking about these. So this trend line from the highs has been hit once, twice, and it hit it again, and we're we're selling off from it, right? And we have an uptrend line from the lows. Got to hit one, two, three, four, five, and it hit it yesterday and bounced off. Okay. Now another thing that's interesting about yesterday is this red line is the 200-day moving average. Look where price went yesterday. It went up to it and sold off. And this is the first time we've closed below the 9 EMA daily. Okay, but look at the support, look at the resistance. These trend lines are really holding the market together right now. Okay. Now I'll get into the market profile on us eating into this move. Okay. So that's the SPY. So let's look at the SPY in a volume profile way. I've talked about this before. Now the most traded price of this month is 39,395 right here, 36. Okay, and you noticed this is Powell's speech. Okay, we've taken back more than half of that move now. Okay, for me, that trend line's there, which is holding the market up, right? The most likely destination, most likely, I would say, is probably here. And if we come here, we'll probably wait for the following week, which is December 13th CPI and 14th FOMC. Okay? Now, anything can happen. We have PPI on Friday, but anything can happen. Okay? But I do feel like we might just go right back to this most traded price of the year and hang out here, play some games, and wait. Okay? Now let's look at the Qs. Now the Qs, we have this uptrend line. Okay, 1, 2, 3 times it's been supportive. Okay, now the Qs hasn't been as strong and it hasn't hit this trend line up here. It hasn't come close to the 200-day moving average, right? But the 100-day moving average, which is the yellow line here, okay, has been resistant. Okay, and now if you notice, the SPY closed lower on the 9 EMA daily, and this closed right at it. Okay, closed right at it. So the SPY is more hitting its trend lines than the Qs. Okay, but still, Qs haven't been able to bust out of this area, right? This is the 50% Fibonacci from this move, swing high, to this low. We still haven't been able to go past 50% of that move. Okay. Now, as far as the Qs go in the profile, this is the most traded price of the week, of the month, I'm sorry, 285.94. We went down there yesterday. Okay. But our last line of defense is 280. So before Powell, we were down here. Powell speech ripped up, and now look. Yesterday, took back more than half of the move, found support at this most traded price of the week. The month. Okay. So we're still in this kind of area, like I said, pre-Powell. Okay. Now let's look at those. My favorite to look at, the market leaders, indicators, is a triple-headed monster, 10-year yield. Let's look at that. Okay. All right. So still not showing us our hand, but we're downtrending, which is positive for equities. But we're just in a range. Okay. We're in a range. And until we break this downtrend, the markets can move higher, but we're in a range. Okay. I think that this is waiting on the Fed and the CPI too. Okay. Let's look at the VIX. The VIX is in a big downtrend. Okay. But it's caught a bid lately. So we've reached a low down here around 19, and today actually is down a little bit, but it's in this range. Okay. And we got the dollar. Dollar's in a downtrend. Okay, made a high at 114. Okay, then we've just been selling off. Now yesterday it rose, hit the 200-day moving average. See that? and the 200-day moving average has been resistance. Okay, hit right on it. Now the last 3 days, resistance, resistance, resistance. Okay, so again, lower dollar, good for commodities, good for equity. Okay, now that we saw that. Okay, now let's go into the sun market profile. All right, let's go into the sun market profile. Okay, so here's our overnight high. Here's our overnight low. Here's yesterday's session, the high and the low. So we're inside yesterday's session right now. So there's no shock, there's no we're not gapping. The most traded price of yesterday here is in that hot pink box. So the price is right here at 4,006. So it's kind of bouncy. Okay. We still have most traded price of the weeks up here. That's 4,075. Okay. Most traded price of the month is down here. 39.60. Okay. So we have two big levels up here and down here that I think we could chop in between, right? So here's that 200 moving average. Here's the high. We sold off from here, right? Okay. And now what I wanted to point out was this move, okay? I always point out single prints, okay? That's a market profile terminology. Single prints. Now my plugin here for the market profile gives me these white boxes anytime there's single prints, and single prints just means there's going to be one-way trading. It's emotional. It's going to show me the emotional buying or selling. In this case, it was emotional buying. Okay, so each white box here, these lines I'm going to draw for you guys, was all single prints. Okay, this means that's poor foundation. It's like a very small stick holding up the market, and it's a very skinny stick that's not going to hold a lot of weight. So when markets come back down, okay, they tend to just rip through them. So you can see all these moves lower and lower has taken out these single prints. Now we're down to here. I marked these off with a box, so we're down to the last part of the single prints is here, right here. That's the last part of the emotional buying that's been left from Powell's speech. Okay, so if we come down here, I would expect to get this taken out. There's not going to be much support here. Okay, just want to point that out. Okay, this is just balance. Balancy, there's not much to see here. Okay, very balanced profile overnight. It's just not leading to me to go, ooh, to jump at something, right? So let's look at the NASDAQ. NASDAQ. Okay. Here's the highs from yesterday. Here's the lows from yesterday. Here's the high of the overnight. Here's the low of the overnight. Okay. Price is right in the middle, right here, 118.19. Here's the 9 AME daily right here. Here's the 20. There's a lot of references that this is in between. Okay. Now, in the NASDAQ, we still have single prints to clean up and more than the ES. Okay. So this area has not been touched yet. This is all below yesterday's low, is all emotional buying. That's from these single prints. You can see the volume here is nothing. It's nothing. It's a weak stick. It's a weak stick foundation. All we need is some negative catalyst to come out. We're going to clean this out. We'll come back to the most traded price of the year, and we'll hold and wait for the CPI in the FOMC. Okay? This is very weak foundation. Right? This was just an overreaction, and now we're finding out the market didn't get follow through really. It kind of just, nope, we're waiting, right? Because we knew this information from Powell already. It wasn't like a shocker. He didn't say anything that was new. He just confirmed it, which I get, which moved the markets, right? Algorithms took it and ran with it, and then they were short covering. But now we're coming back down to earth, okay? So again, nothing to glean from here. We're inside yesterday's session right now. There's no gap, there's no this. It's just we're in the middle of the muddle. But I would definitely say if we take out yesterday's low and there's volume and there's some type of catalyst, there's a good chance we wipe all this out. Okay? Now, let's look at some longer term charts to see if there's anything to glean from here. Alright, here's that most traded price of the year in the ES. It's right here. It's very important, right? And then above us we have this price that used to be the most traded price of the year. We're in between those prices. We're right here right now. Okay, so this is why in the SPY I'm saying that we're probably going to come down here, the most traded price of the year, and wait for FOMC and CPI, excuse me. Okay, just wanted to show you a visual. So that's that. Yes. So let's look at the NASDAQ. Now NASDAQ, right here. Okay, price is 118.15. It's right here. That's price. Okay, this is the most traded price of the year in the last year. They're together. A year ago today, this is the most traded price, and this year is the most traded price. Very big level, right? That level is 115.87. I believe we come down here and wait. Okay, you can see the big move that happened from here, right? I preach this all the time. Whoever watches my videos with the most traded prices of the year, the most traded price of the month, the week, like so on and so forth. But you can see where this move originated. Where did it originate? Right from here, right? And we shot up. Now what's going to happen most likely is we're going to come right back. Okay, unless there's some positive catalyst. All right, let's just look at the daily charts of these guys to see it in a different visual, to give you guys the most traded price right here and where we're at right here. This is the ES, and you can see that trend line even in the 24-hour futures chart. There's trend line. Okay, and we're also sitting on the 20 day moving average right here. A lot of references around here. Okay, let's look at the Nasdaq's daily on the futures chart. Here's that trend line. Here's the 20, and you can see that the 200-day moving average has been resistant. Okay, and here's the most traded price of the year right here. And you can see that we just haven't went below this price. Okay, this is kind of holding the market up, but this will decide Santa Claus or not. Okay, all right, let's get into the 1 hour charts. Look at some levels. So we're basically been in a range. Okay, we got right here, we popped down and we just been in this range. So you can obviously see there's a bear flag pattern right here. Okay, now this is resistance 4014. You can clearly see it, right? Then we have support at 39.89. Also have some support right here. Okay, however, there's this trend line in a demand zone that could get a bounce out of. I don't know. That's all it has to tell me if the market's strong or not. Okay, but we do have support through 39.89. Most traded price of the year right here, 39.66. Where if we can break this trend line, hold, we're probably going here, right? Just like I've been saying. Another thing to look at today is if we do bounce off here, come up, hit this trend line, downtrend, into this supply zone, that could be a short. Okay, but it all depends how the market is, right? If it's like a two-sided market, that could work. If it's super strong with the bulls, you just have to see, right? It's all about the context of the market when it opens, right? Because nobody knows. All right, let's look at the Nasdaq. Okay, all right. So the Nasdaq has had a downtrend that I talked about yesterday, and this downtrend has been resistance one, two, three, four, 5 times. Okay, so it's a little more of a powerful downtrend line. Okay, it's a little more of a powerful downtrend line, and you have some confluence here with the most traded price of the week here. Okay, that this downtrend line crosses through here, where if you get a pop up here, that might be a good short as well. Okay, you want to look with confluence when there's confluence. Okay, here's this big resistance line. I talked about it yesterday, 119.97. This is just crazy amount of resistance here. Okay, but we have the 100-day moving average right here. But I'm just saying, we come back up here, that's a place to look. That's a market mover, I believe, at least to get to here. Okay, so we have resistance at 118.38. You can see resistance, 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 right? And then we have support at 117.81 and another support at 117.45, which happens to also be the 20-day moving average. Okay, but here underneath here, this 117.45 is those single prints that I mentioned earlier. That's why it's kind of like opaque here, because it's the single prints that I marked off, and that's all in here. That's that weak stick that I talked about. That if we break this, I believe we're gonna hit down here the most traded price of the year, 116.03, 11600, whatever you want to call it. Okay. So right now we're hanging out in this demand zone right now. Okay. I'm just putting it up here to give some scenarios for today, give me some clarity of what I'm seeing. Okay. Let's move over to the market profile. Just want to position these. Okay. So let's look at some scenarios here. All right, so we're at the lows right now. All right, before we were here. All right, we're at the lows. Let me see if I can. Yeah, so we're at 3998 right now. Okay, which is fine. All right, so this is key. These are the key levels for the ES. Okay, so very likely I'm gonna go off with a bearish sentiment here because I believe, even though we have this trend line, that yesterday we came down and made lows here. Okay, this is the lows, and now what happened was people were short here and we closed here. Okay, so everybody's still short. Okay, everybody's still short. Now there was some buyers that came in at the lows, right? They haven't got hurt yet, right? So one thing I could see happening, and to set this up, is we could come down. This is a very viable scenario. Okay, this is a highly likely scenario in this market. I could see us coming down. That's a 20 MA here. Is that white blue line, the light blue line right here? That's a 20-day moving average on the daily. If we come down and hit yesterday's low, and there's a demand zone here, I could see us popping back up. Okay, I could see us popping back up, coming back almost to the most traded price of yesterday, and maybe we even tag overnight high. But there's the test of the market, because now what you're going to have is you're going to have new longs. Okay, thinking that, ooh, it's strong. And what I think might happen today is they get caught and they're going to have to liquidate, and we're going to come back through. Okay, and we're going to test the 20 moving average from the bottom, and I believe we take out these singles. These are the single prints here, right here. That's that weak stick I talked about. It's a weak foundation, and I believe we come down here, 39.60. I believe we come down to 39.60, the most traded price of the year. Maybe even tag 39.49. Okay, I just feel that longs will get roped in, and then they're gonna get hurt. We're gonna break that trend line. Okay, that could be scenario one. Now let's look at the bullish case here, right? Now we are at that trend line, so I have to respect it as well. Okay, now remember, the market has to be weak to do what I just said. Okay, and then you have that trend line. We have the 20-day simple moving average also in our way. So I'm not saying that that's easy. I'm saying that I could see it happening though. Okay, so let's go for two. All right, I also could see the same thing pushing down to the lows of yesterday, catching a bit in the demand zone of the 20-day simple moving average, and then since overnight's all overnight is short, majority of it. Okay, we're gonna come up. We could squeeze the shorts from the overnights, come up to the 90-minute daily, start working our way back up to this supply zone here. Okay, and maybe we even tag the 200-day moving average, and then I think we probably come off in balance here. I think that's a little less likely, but not out of the question, right? Third is always a balance. Okay, it's always a balance for me. Okay, I think we could open and I definitely think we could either pop up here, come in here, balance off, come down here, balance off. Gotta always have that in the mix. All right, now let's go to the NASDAQ. Okay, NASDAQ, this is that key resistance level, 119.97. I just want to bring that to everybody's attention. That's a big resistance line. Okay, and the big resistance line in the ES was 4014. Okay, so same thing. I'm gonna go over the same thing, same basically thing that I just pointed out. I believe come down here to the lows. 20-day simple moving average is there as well. Come back up. 9 AMA dailies here at the overnight highs. I believe we could pop up. Then we squeeze. I'm sorry, liquidate those longs. Come back down. Visit the lows. Pop up. Come through it. Pop back up. And we're taking out this weak foundation. And we're going back to the most traded price of the year. Okay. Now, that's no easy task, but I believe that there's a probability of that happening today. Okay. Bullish case. Okay. I believe you also come down to these lows, squeeze the shorts from the overnight, hold 90-minute daily, come up to the most traded price of the week, balance off, and maybe we tag that monthly VWAP and maybe go to the highs of yesterday, right? Find some resistance here, and then this is the mean thing. That's that big resistance line. Can we break that? Obviously, if we do, we're tagging that 100-day moving average. All right, let's go with, I'm sorry, that was number 2. And then we got number 3, which is good old balance. Okay, definitely think it can move down, come back up, balance, right? Move up, hit the hit the top of the session, and then we balance off. Okay. Now, that's an order of what I think should happen today. 1, 2, 3. But any of them can happen, right? I got to be open. I don't know how the market's going to be. More weak, strong. I have no idea. Okay, but this is what I'm going to look for today. Okay. Hope that made sense for everybody. As always, give me a comment, like, or subscribe. I'm hoping this is making sense to everybody. If it doesn't, please send me a question if you like. Um, and I wish everybody a green day today. And I'll see everybody tomorrow. And again, if I see anything of importance during the middle of the day, I will do an update. Okay? All right, take it easy.